I am sure there are some writers here, aren't there? Come on. Yeah, yeah, you do. Yeah, writers hate writing. They do anything rather than write. It's the hardest thing in the world. Which is why writers always have the cleanest houses, or their cars are always really well maintained, or you know their gardens are really nice or something, because they will do anything rather than write. I mean, I am convinced that the Great Wall of China was built by writers. Nothing else. I really, really have to build this wall. No, I can't right now. I really have to build it.
With us is the SFeraKon guest of honor, British science fiction writer Ian McDonald. Hello, how are you? What are your impressions of SFeraKon?
It's full of young, sexy people, which is very unusual for a science fiction convention, because most of the ones I go to are full of fat, middle-aged, very unsexy people. And I kind of think that's a good thing, because it means that, you know, the future of fandom is safe. You know, there is a generation coming up behind me, so it's good. It's good to be here.
But it's maybe because Croatian people are very beautiful.
Of course.
I heard you have tried many Croatian beers. Which one did you like the best?
Well, no, I didn't have many beers. I had many of one kind of beer, actually. The one that begins with an O, I've had some of that.
Ožujsko.
Yes, I've been told to look for one, Tom something or other,
Tomislav.
That's it, yep, that's the one to look for, apparently. But I have had a lot more homebrew schnapps last night, which was...
The theme of this year's SFeraKon is steampunk and space opera. What do you prefer and why?
Well, I don't read much steampunk, because actually I don't think steampunk is terribly good written down. As kind of as a kind of a dress code, it looks fantastic, because everyone loves all that kind of Victorian stuff. So I think probably my heart is kind of closer to space opera. Basically because the explosions are bigger. Though steampunk and space opera do kind of come close together. You know, there've been a couple of old books. There was one called The Space Machine, which Chris Priest wrote, which was the War of the Worlds in reverse. So it's where the Victorians invade Mars rather than the Martians invading Victorian Britain. And I kind of think this is kind of a future in that sort of thing, you know, where space opera and steampunk come together. That could be a lot of fun.
And now a little about your novels. In your novels, you often pose unusual and remote locations such as India, Kenya, and Mars. Can you tell us why is that so? Because usually writers place their novels plot in their parent state.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested in. I was just talking about a novel I did way back in '95 called Chaga, which is set in Kenya, in Africa. And my thought was based on this. It was, when you watch a science fiction movie, the UFO always lands on the White House lawn. What if it landed outside the president's palace in Nairobi in Kenya or something like that? And that's why it's kind of encouraging at the very start of District 9, the movie, you know, where they say, we always thought the aliens would come to, come to America or Moscow. In fact, they came to Johannesburg instead. And I kind of salute that sort of attitude, because other cultures have kind of really funky takes on the technology we kind of take for granted. So, like in River of Gods, I wanted to take the whole kind of artificial intelligence cyberpunk thing and kind of ram it. The man is waving the book, and kind of mash it up with kind of Indian Bollywood culture and kind of see what they do with them. I wrote a book called Brazil, which was set in Brazil, because. And it's kind of about the many worlds theory and parallel universes and all that, because I just wanted to see what somewhere as kind of broken up and mad as Brazil would kind of do with that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm sure you saw the capoeira demonstration yesterday. I mean, it's just, Brazil has so much stuff going on that we just don't know about. It's an exciting place to set science fiction.
And what is the goal of unlocking the local mentality of these places or countries, and how do you gain insight in them?
I travel a lot. It takes me years to write a book. I mean, I pitched River of Gods in 1999. It took me about 4 years to write it. So I will read a lot. I will download loads of music, and hundreds of hours of music. I will cook a lot of Indian food, oh hardship. Um, talk to our local Indian community and travel a lot as well. So I've traveled quite widely across India and Nepal and Kathmandu, just to kind of see how it all fits and how it all works. Because you can get a certain amount from reading stuff and reading newspapers and meeting people, but you kind of have to see how it works out on the street, how how people live their lives, um, you know, what the policemen are like, what the traffic is like, kind of little things like that, you know. So I'll do that, and then I'll probably start writing something. I mean, I get stuff wrong. Of course, I'm going to get stuff wrong, but I can write about what's happening at the bottom of my street and get stuff wrong as well. So, I mean, I just think it's time that kind of other takes in science fiction were seen rather than the standard Western, American, European.
Okay. Has your short stay in Croatia encouraged some new ideas?
Yeah. I'm not going to commit myself, but there's stuff kind of rolling around at the back of my head. I mean, I'm kind of going around looking at stuff, going, yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I'm kind of changing direction in what I'm writing, because about every 10 years I get bored and need to kind of do something new. So I have a couple of new projects, and I mean, I think some of this may work its way in or fit in somewhere. But this is part of Europe I've never been to before, so there's a lot to learn and kind of look at, and it's interesting.